Hello, denizens of the internet. This is Kira Una coming to you today with a new project. Today, we're going to do a little bit of Fallout 4 themed decor. Come with me. So, I'm sure that many of you are aware that I have played at least a couple of the Fallout games. I have played Fallout 3, granted it's been a really long time since I've played that one. Fallout 4, which I recently just finished, Fallout London, which I'm currently playing, as well as Fallout New Vegas, again, which I want to play it again, but I'm not sure if I can get it to work to my playstyle, but I'll have to tinker with the files a little bit in order to get it to work the way I need it to. And for anybody who's a hardcore gamer, sorry, I'm not that good. So I kind of need a couple of gimmies in terms of the code and as well as the gameplay in order for me to be able to enjoy the content. Anyhow, with that said, I'm sure that you all know I love the lore. Now, given our current global climate, I'm going to put this as delicately as I can, I'm Canadian. Yeah, with that said, I do enjoy the Fallout series. I think it's fantastic. Again, it is fiction. I want to make sure that you all understand that the Fallout universe is fiction. It is fiction, it is fiction. Alright, so there's a wall just over here by my sewing machine. My sewing machine's right there. That is my usual sewing station. It's a little bare. It's got nothing but plain walls, and I kind of want to decorate it a little bit. Now, I have a crap ton, I have a full bolt of that yellow fabric that you all saw when I was working on the Vault Suit project. I wasn't sure how much I was going to need. I bought way too much that I'm never going to use because I am not a yellow wearing person. My color palette based on school, I am supposedly a true winter. Colorists, you can debate that in the chat if you want to. Now, I'm planning on doing possibly one of two different types of flags. I want to do one for the railroad, because if you know, you know, my Geiger counter's in the shop. And if I have enough, because what I want to do is I want to go through some of the scraps that I have from previous projects and use them up. So I'll be cutting them into squares so I can make one for the Minutemen. Because recycling and reusing fabrics is totally something that you would use post-apocalyptia to do things like flags or bedding or couches or pick anything that requires cloth in the workshop. But keep in mind the colors for the flag itself, for the emblems, I may do slightly differently in different colors. Like the original styling, and I'll pop it somewhere here on screen. The original styling is kind of like an orange yellow or an orange and white, which really doesn't pop. It doesn't stand out very much. Oh yeah, spoilers, game spoilers. Just, fair enough. For anybody who's just learning the game or who's just started the game or people who haven't started the game at all and are interested in the plot. Keep in mind that the TV show may also go into New Vegas, so maybe I'll have to take a look into a couple of things from New Vegas as well. What I would love to do at some point is NCR flag, but I don't think I have the right colors unless I just did white and painted it. Maybe I'll do an NCR flag too. I'll have to see how I feel about it and how deep into the flag making I want to get. For the Minutemen and the Railroad, I probably do, for fabrics-wise, like if I do edging around the pieces. Now I'm going into the weeds of thinking about my process. This is what happens when I really decide that I want to go fancy and don't think simple is better. I can just use paint and maybe some textile medium for this. Do I have textile medium? I might? If not, they're just flags. Just acrylic will do the job. I will have to see what I have in my stash. With that said, let us go into printing out the logos and cutting them out to make stencils, and we'll see where we go from there. So I took a printing of the lantern for the railroad, transferred it onto one of those overhead plastic sheets. Then I cut it all out and made a stencil out of it, and I did a test stenciling onto a piece of paper. I had decided that that particular emblem, even though it does make for a good stencil, it's not quite big enough, so I'm going to change tactics and go bigger. Alright, so I have my yellow fabric. I've designated where the center is of the piece, so I'm just using some found cardboard for the backing for now, and I've pinned it along the edges so that way everything stays nice and tight. And I'm going to take this into another room that's dark, and I'm going to use my projector and trace out the emblem right here. This arrow here is just to indicate what way is up. Hey, that doesn't look too bad. That actually looks pretty even. I'm happy with that. Okay, cool. Cool. Alright, let's get this into the other room, the main room by my ironing board, and we'll put probably some parchment paper. Trace all that out in white, and I should have textile medium somewhere. I just thought of something. I have glow-in-the-dark paint. Should I make it glow-in-the-dark? I mean, I could, because radiation and making things glow is a vibe. Now I'm thinking. Give me a chance to think about that and I'll come back to you. Okay, so now that I've got this pinned down back again, got a layer of parchment paper underneath, and I'm going to grab my paints and grab something to put paints into and start painting. So I mixed the acrylic paint and the textile medium at a 1:1 ratio. And then I just proceeded to filling in all those lines with white paint. So while the white paint was still semi-wet and while it was drying, I went looking in my stash for my fabric paints and found some of the glow-in-the-dark puff paint. I just put some on the lid, mixed it a little bit with the white, and just proceeded to paint it over top of the white that's already on the flag. I'm going to get started on outlining all of this in black. I'm going to put on some tunes while I'm doing that. This should be fairly easy. I'm just tracing my lines with paintbrush. and I've got my acrylic and stuff over here. Then I will let that dry. It'll be time for some distressing, I think, after I'm done. Well, I gotta iron this and set some of the paint, but once I'm done that, then it'll come to distressing and making it look a little weathered. So stick around. So I have some dark blue fabric. I made a shirt with this previously. I believe I have a picture of it. If I do, I'll pop it somewhere on the screen just so that you can see the shirt that I made. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go old school. I'm going to use my pre-World War II Singer machine. And I've just finished giving her an oiling, and I've got my supplies in my little cubby here if I need more. I'm probably going to go with a black thread that's just made out of cotton. I have a thread stand over here that you can see, which is typically where I hold my thread anyway. The major difference is that I've got LED lights just so that I can see what I'm doing. All I'm going to be doing is just patching this into one big rectangle. I might not show you the process, but I'm going to go through using this machine just because it's the vibe. Once I'm done, because I've got to wait for the railroad one to dry, I'm gonna, like I said, spend some time sewing this up. Once that is sewn, I may call it a day or just move the railroad one out of the way just so I can press this down, because ideally you want to press all the seams flat as you can. Now I hear some of you saying, well, why are you using a sewing machine? No. First of all, they had sewing machines since the 1800s. Like, I'm gonna say off the top of my head, vaguely remembering, I think they said the first one was made in like 1830. A lot of this kind of style sewing machine is seen around multiple wastelands, and it's also something similarly is used for the armor workbench. I will see if I can find a screen capture of the armor workbench somewhere here on screen. So that is why I'm going with this style of sewing machine. It's mechanical, it is hand powered, so you don't use electricity at all for this. I will see you in the next bit when I figure out what I'm going to do for the Minutemen logo. Now where I'm at in the process is I'm going to be interfacing the back of some scrap white fabric that has an additional white sort of pearl printed on it. Now in the meantime, we're going to go into a bit of the historical Minutemen in the events that relate to real life history in very brief terms. In the game, the Minutemen group led by Preston is not the historical New England Colonial Militia Minutemen or the Culpeper Minutemen Militia. I acknowledge that there are sensitive topics when talking about the American Revolution and the events that took place during the Civil War and the eventual abolition of slavery. In history, the South fought to keep slavery, whereas the North, which is the northern states, Canada, and the British forces, all fought to end slavery. Another thing that sparked part of the war was the high tariffs that Republicans wanted. Sound familiar? This was wanted to, allegedly at the time, stimulate industrial growth where the Democrats in Congress kept trying to reduce rates. The Minutemen in history were founded as a militia to be ready at a minute's notice, which was mentioned in the game. In the game, the Minutemen were founded mainly as a way to rebuild the Commonwealth after the Great War, with the main goals of establishing self-sustaining settlements. Now there are a few things that get in their way, such as Raiders, the Brotherhood of Steel, the Institute, Super Mutants, and other smaller factions, along with irradiated bugs, bears, mole rats, mirelurks, and deathclaws. In the game, the Museum of Freedom in Concord highlights snips of the American Revolution, as well as the in-game event also known as the Battle of Anchorage. There is a real museum in Concord, which is part of the Boston area, that exists in real life that you might want to check out. I would love to go myself, but at this point in time, it's not safe for Canadians to travel to the USA, and I don't think it will be for a while, sadly. Next, I'm going to take the printed out logo of the Minutemen flag, put that onto the cotton, and trace out the logo. Then I'm going to cut it out, assure my placement, and I'm going to use my handy dandy glue stick to temporarily baste all of that down into place. I'm going to take a second here just to baste everything down using thread, using white so that it matches the emblem, so then that way if the glue does happen to give way, at least I have anchor points. Okay, I think this is good enough that it's dry enough. It feels dry. I'm gonna peel this off of the board. I'm gonna heat up my iron to just sort of give it a gentle pass. I'll use the non-stick sheets just to cover it, just in case. I mean, I should be able to peel off any acrylic if it does happen to get stuck for whatever reason. I'm also not gonna use it on the highest setting. It's just enough to set it so that it won't peel off, hopefully. And then I'm gonna put this back on the board, and I'm going to maybe do a little bit of weathering on it. And then once that's dried, tomorrow what I might do is, if it's nice outside like it is right now, I'll take it outside and, I don't know, rub it against the bricks of the building or step on it or something. I don't know. I'll figure out a way to weather it. Maybe even burn some holes in it. That could be fun. Safely. Not anywhere I've painted, but maybe in a couple of corners. And I also have to hem the whole thing because we've got all these raw edges. So I kind of want to make it look like a flag. I might even just put like a tube on one side just so that if I do have a pole, I can put it onto a pole if I wanted to. Now let's see how this will peel off. Oh good, that's coming right off. Perfect. Aha. Excellent. Yay, parchment paper, it didn't stick. You know what, I'm gonna get another piece of parchment paper. That definitely won't stick. How about we reuse some of the parchment paper that I already had? Lay it down. I mean, it doesn't matter if some of the paint gets on the fabric, because, I mean, it's not supposed to be perfect, right? It's supposed to look a little bit weathered or something. But I do want to kind of keep the logo pristine. I know, it's weird. I think weirdly sometimes. It's just how I am. It's hot enough to move. Friction marks. Okay, good. Just a quick pass. Nothing super crazy. Nothing really long. Because, I mean, this is more decorative than functional. There we are. These ones are gone. This needs a little bit more love. You probably can't see them, but I can see them. All right, now I'm gonna put this back on the board, but I'm gonna do it not in the way that you might think. Pin all of the parchment paper to the board. Then I'm gonna grab paint, crumple this up in various places around the logo, not on the logo, but around the logo, and just kind of get it dirty. We'll get it grimy a little bit. We got some brown, and we're gonna add, again, a bit of textile medium. I got a little on the logo. It's fine. It's fine. Now that I have that, maybe I can grab a little red. Let's add a couple of minor blood stains. Yeah, that's kind of what we want. Do I want one though? I kind of do. Let me get some red paint. I'll be right back. We'll make this a little more grimier. So we have a little bit of color theory, very minorly. As we know, blood is generally red, and it also has like a slight blue tinge to it as it oxidizes, because your blood is, yes, it's red, but that's red because it's oxygenated as it dries. So if you want to get a little bit more of a semi-realistic, you want to add a fair bit of dark brown to it. I don't have a dark brown, but I have a bit of blue. Not quite enough to really change the color, but we'll darken it up a little bit and blend it in with some of the, dirt. And I'll add just a little more black to it. That might be too dark, but that's okay. I can work with that. I don't know how much of this is on screen, but I hope it is. Just a little bit of blood, maybe a little bit more blood. A little bit more blood. Because it'll be like a dark, muddy, brown, purple kind of color. It looks brown. Did I just not add enough red? Oh, we'll make it redder. That's a little closer to the red color I was looking for. Maybe the yellow of the fabric's throwing it off? Oh, yeah. Ha, that looks better. I'm happy with that color. A little bit more to my eye, it looks like more like dried blood. It's not real blood. Not real blood, it's fake blood. Not real blood, it's fake blood. Let's do one more. Okay, now that that's all done, I'm gonna go clean up because my hands are a mess. And I've got to clean all this off as well. Hopefully I didn't get any paint on my shirt. I got a little bit on my pressing cloth, but that's fine. I will use it as a drop cloth kind of situation going forward. We'll let this dry. I'll keep working on the Minutemen piece, and I will come back to you in a little bit. Then while I was waiting for the railroad flag to dry, I was hand stitching with glow-in-the-dark thread all of the way around all of the parts of the emblem for the Minutemen flag. I decided to use a very loose sort of whip and satin stitch in a way in order to give it a little bit more of a rustic but yet handmade look. I'm going to give the railroad flag a little bit more of a handmade feel. I found some tape that I'm going to use as my loops to hang it up on the wall, but to finish off the edges, I'm going to be doing some what's called hand felling. So I've rolled the edge, the raw edge is tucked in, and I'm going to hand sew this, and I'm also going to teach you how to do the felling stitch. So to start the felling stitch, you want to start on the inside of the fabric, on the fold, pull that through. And you want to have some small running stitches on the outside, but as you come back up, you will be poking back through that folded edge. So I have my thread started on the fold. We're going to go down, up, and poke through the folded edge. And we're going to repeat. So down, up, and on the folded edge. Down, through, and up. And what that does is it keeps this stitch felled into place, but it also gives you a really nice running stitch on the other side. So I'm going to keep doing this for a few hours. We'll see how far I get tonight. In the meantime, I will see you in a little bit, if not the next day. I think what I might do is, even though this could work as a flag, I might actually take the time, figure out where the logo is sitting, and I'll put a couple of like hanging ties so that it functions both as a flag if I want to take it down and actually use it as a flag, or hang it up. I know it's not ideal, but if you take a look at any settlement, they're actually like tacked and hung up on the walls. For anybody who's wondering about the reference, I'm using the logo that you will see in the workshop, not in the railroad headquarters underground bunker base. I'm not going to tell you all where it is because, well, you gotta play the game. And I recommend anybody who is currently watching the Fallout TV series, you might want to play a couple of the games to understand the context, especially considering New Vegas is going to be the next location, so you might want to check that out. What I'm thinking of, because it's unlikely they would have anything super pressed or super clean, I'm going to just hand roll this and sew it down so that it looks functional, but not necessarily true to the aesthetics. Like, again, this is post-apocalyptia. They probably don't have a properly working iron, so I'm going to essentially take the raw edges, fold them under like that, sew it all down, and I'm using cotton thread, primarily because I'm planning on still de-stressing this a little bit more, maybe wearing some holes into it, maybe burning it in a few places. I'm gonna edge the whole thing. I'm gonna make a casing for a flagpole, but I'm also planning on attaching a couple of ties at the very top, just a little bit past the lamp logo, just so that I can hang it up. So I have a stick at home here that I have used as a walking stick, and it's about the right height that I need. I'm going to make the flag fit around that pole, but I'm also going to measure a spot on my wall where I already have 2 loops and see where I need to put loop placements. But in the meantime, I'm going to sew the casing for that pole. It is approximately 2 inches from the folded edge to the stitching edge that I made earlier. So I'm just gonna go sew that straight. I've pinned the heck out of it so it's not going to fudge any more than it probably will, because this is not cut straight in certain places, and you know, it's wrinkly. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm going to figure out how wide those spots are on my wall, make loops to put this up as decor. Okay, so I've done the ties. Essentially, I just used a water-based marker that will come off with just water, and I double sewed it so that it hangs like this. So that way the tension is on this selvage edge seamed edge. Because, I mean, it's something that might have been done in the wasteland to post up a flag. And I did the same thing over here. And then on the far left side is my tube for a pole of some sort. But it's about time that we trash this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this thing outside and grab a bucket of water, maybe light a couple spots on fire and douse it really quickly, just so that you know, I'm not burning the whole place down. Thank you once again for joining me on this crafting adventure. If you happen to like what you see, please like, subscribe, and comment, because that will help to boost the algorithm so I can make more content for you. So then that way I know I have been seen by all of you. And please, by all means, post if you happen to find some of these tutorials useful. Also, please note that I do happen to have a Ko-Fi page, and I have all of the links in my description box down below. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye! Oh, hi, Jill. How are you? Oh, it's been, what, probably about 6 months? Yeah, I finally got it done. Preston owes me for this, I hope you know. So, here is the flag that you needed. Another settlement needs our help. No. I am a seamstress for this vault. If Preston wants somebody else who knows how to sew, they can either pay me to train somebody, which he really should be doing. Either that or he can find somebody who already knows how to sew. I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of people in Diamond City. Look, I have a 6-month backlog. You were lucky I could get this flag done in like 2 days. I don't have more time to do this. I squeezed this in on my lunch breaks. You should have seen it. You're lucky there's no stains on this thing. Okay, next person. Oh, hey, Glory, how are you? What are you doing all the way out here? Oh, yeah, sure. Let me just, what is this? It's the emblem for the railroad. And you want me to make a... Have you been talking to Preston? No, I don't have time to make another flag. For the synths that are trying to leave the Institute. Fine. I'll try it. You know what? I might just do this one with spray paint. Do you have the fabric for it? Okay, well then I'm gonna need you to go scavenge for the fabric in order for me to do this. Because if this is what you want, you're gonna have to do a little bit better. At least Preston gave me the fabric for it. Don't ask me to know how to use a gun. I've never used a gun in my life. I've lived in a vault this entire time.